Hello, friends, and welcome into College Football Now. I am Tom Downey. Alongside me is Harrison Graham. The very first college football playoff rankings are about a month away from being revealed. So what we're going to do for you to help you get prepared for that is to project where it would be right now. So we'll take you through 25 to number 1. And one big note, these are going to look very different than the AP poll. It's based far more on what the teams have done, who they've played, what their resumes look like so far. So we'll begin at number 25, Texas A&M Harrison. Kind of an awkward fit because they've got quality losses, but the wins.
Yeah, they snuck by Arkansas a couple of weeks ago coming off the bye week. Sort of played Clemson tough, but so far not super impressive. That's why we got them at number 25.
Number 24, the Cincinnati Bearcats. We know the committee doesn't really like the group of 5 teams, but you see they're 4-1. A strength of schedule that's actually number 31 in college football, and their only loss to Ohio State.
And their Twitter is number 1 in the country.
Great point.
That's what matters most.
Not a metric we can count, but it is still important there.
Could be a tiebreaker in the end. Who knows?
All right, number 23, Wake Forest, undefeated, but the quality of opponents, not that great.
ACC's down this year, didn't have a tough non-con schedule. We'll see what they do moving forward.
Not that far ahead of Wake Forest. Number 22, Minnesota. The strength of schedule for Wake is number 89. Minnesota's number 84. Take your pick.
Yeah, Baylor's not in our top 25. Those 3 teams in those conferences all kind of in the same boat. Haven't been challenged yet that much. We'll see, as the schedule gets tougher, what those 3 teams do.
Number 21, SMU. They check in there. They have the number 76 strength of schedule. We will spoil this here. They are actually the highest rated group of 5 team. Boise State not in the top 25. They have a terrible 111th strength of schedule.
Yeah, at SMU, they get that road win at TCU. Had a nice comeback win last weekend over Tulsa at home. Undefeated for the first time this far into a season since the Pony Express, I should say, back in the 80s. Great start up on the hilltop.
All right, number 20 then, the Michigan State Spartans here. The losses are quality, Ohio State and Arizona State.
Yeah, obviously offensively they struggle. Brian Lewerke, I think they're ready to move on from him. They're good defensively. We saw against Ohio State for about a half. They were right there, but then got overwhelmed in the second half.
Moving on now to number 19, that is Cal. They actually have the 14th best strength of schedule in college football, which might be a surprise.
Which is bizarre in the Pac-12. 4-2.
They all have 3 wins and 4 wins.
This is one of those. They're number 19, but they also have 0% chance of making the college football playoffs since they already have 2 losses.
All right, number 18, that is Utah, 4-1. Maybe things would be different if they hadn't lost to USC.
Yeah, tough loss there. Second straight year they've had a disappointing loss to the Trojans. They're going to have to win out if they want to have a chance.
All right, number 17, Iowa, yet another 4-1 squad.
Do we have to watch Iowa play again this year? I mean, seriously.
Yes, they play Penn State this weekend, so we have to watch.
They're going to be 4-2 after this weekend. That was a rough showing against Michigan on Saturday.
All right, number 16 then, it is Virginia. They stand there at 4-1 with their lone loss coming to Notre Dame.
Yeah, they're kind of one of those teams hovering around that if they just keep on piling up wins, which they should in the ACC, maybe they'll have a chance there in the end.
Which brings us to this question. Which team outside the top 15 could actually make a playoff push?
It's so tough this year because you feel like, is the answer none of them? Like, off of that list.
I'm making you pick one.
I'm going to actually go Utah because
pick.
I think this is the most capable team outside the top 25. It was a bad loss to USC. That's not a team they should lose to this year. Obviously, in most years, that would not be the case. But if they can win out, they got some tough games coming up. Washington, I believe they play Arizona in a few weeks, who's playing much better. If they can pile up some wins and win out, maybe they can make a sneaky run there at the end. They're going to need some help.
All these teams going to need help. I'll mention Virginia. Their schedule, not daunting. Miami of Florida, Duke, Louisville, UNC, Georgia Tech, Liberty, and Virginia Tech.
And if you beat Clemson in the ACC title game,
and if
that probably puts you in.
Pac-12 has a 2-loss champion, if the SEC has a bunch of 1-loss teams,
Big 12 beats up on each other.
Maybe you get lucky there. I think those 2 teams make the most sense. Now, if you guys like betting on college football like Harrison and I do, go check it out at chatsports.com/bet. That is BetDSI, the single best betting site out there. Use that promo code CFB120, get you a 120% deposit bonus. And if you were smart, you bet on Cincinnati to beat UCF this weekend.
Yeah, good one there, Tom. That's humble brag right there.
It is. It's not even humble. It's just bragging. That's all it is there. But you can get on the betting action too. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is CFB120. Moving on now, inside the top 15, and under the radar team because they had a bye this past week, Arizona State.
You got the non-conference win over Michigan State for the second straight year. Look, Herm Edwards is doing a great job up there. You get them, have them in there at number 15. Schedule's been pretty good so far. We'll see how it plays out. The Pac-12 South is very fascinating to me this year with
the
Utah,
entire Pac-12 is fun.
Arizona. We'll see how it all plays out in the end.
All right, number 14, it is the Michigan Wolverines. They have a pretty quality strength of schedule overall relative to having not played that many teams. They sit there at 43rd. Strength record's 19. The win over Iowa was big.
This is one of those where you look at the schedule, who they've played and who they've beaten, who they lost to. You're like, not bad, right? Lost to Wisconsin, who's a good team. You know, found a way to beat a pretty decent Army team, beat Iowa, but then you have to watch the games. And you're
the eye test, which matters now.
They do not pass the eye test at all. Obviously, they'll have a few more games to prove themselves. So far, it hasn't been pretty. We've got them here at number 14.
And I'll mention this point right now, too. The committee last year clearly valued the eye test, especially for the top teams, a lot more than previous committees did. So we'll keep that in mind this time around. Number 13, it is Penn State. They're 5-0. Who have they played, Harrison?
They're kind of like the opposite of Michigan. The schedule has not been tough, but they've looked a lot better outside of the game against Pitt, where Pitt might be better than we thought at the same time.
True. That's probably their best win.
They've got 3 Power 5 wins, but they're all lower-level Power 5 wins. Schedule heats up. You got Iowa this weekend. You can score a good win there. So off to a good start. Need to see more from them.
5-0 is what matters for Penn State. They may be ranked low. They're still in good shape overall. Number 12, it is the Oregon Ducks at 4-1. A loss to Auburn, which
They should have won.
Doesn't look as good now because Auburn lost to Florida.
Still a good loss.
We'll get to those two teams, of course, here. And that Cal win looks better now.
Yeah, look, Cal's a good defense. Oregon, this is the best defense they've had in a long
It
time.
is.
But that offense isn't clicking for whatever reason. With Justin Herbert kind of off to a weird start. You know, another one of those Pac-12 one-loss teams that this thing will play itself out in the next few weeks.
All right, number 11, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They sit there at 4-1. They did beat Virginia. That's a pretty quality win. They lost to Georgia fairly close in the end on the road.
And they may have, that's probably the best loss in the country, right? I mean, you could talk about, you know, Texas losing to LSU, but, you know, on the road, they were 14.5-point dogs, and they were there at the end with the football, with the chance to steal that game. So we've got them at number 11. Everything for Notre Dame is sitting in front of them, Tom. If they take care of business, they'll have a chance at the end.
Yeah, so again, the top 15, or inside top 15 here, we have Arizona State, maybe a surprise there, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, Notre Dame. Harrison, which team you think gives you the best chance?
I think it's Notre Dame or Penn State. Those are the two, but I don't think Penn State can beat Ohio State, so I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I think they could run the table on that schedule. I don't believe in Michigan. I think the Pac-12's too crowded. I think they knock each other out. Give me Notre Dame out of that grouping.
All right, folks. Well, that's your inside your top 15. Let's go in now to the top 10. At number 10, it is Texas. They beat Oklahoma State. The loss to LSU, that quality loss there, but their strength of schedule is pretty good. It's at 16. Big test coming up against Oklahoma today.
Yeah, Red River rivalry coming up on Saturday. Obviously, it's always a big game, just as big as it's ever been this year. Winner of that game takes control of the Big 12. Good loss against LSU. I have questions about this defense, but Sam Ehlinger's going to give them a chance in every game they play. He's playing at a high level. 4-1, good start for Texas.
Well, I know we got some Sooners fans here. You might not like this one. They check in at number 9, and there are a lot of good undefeated teams, but Oklahoma's 5-0. With a strength of schedule, though, just at 61. That's pretty low.
I mean, we were going through the schedule. Is Texas Tech the best win? Although Tech, you know, it looks a little better. Tech just scored a nice win against Oklahoma State. It's not a bad win by any means, but, you know, they beat Houston, who's not as good as people thought. You know, Kansas. The schedule just hasn't come to fruition yet. And I think this is why people freak out when the committee do these rankings. They're like, oh, why did they have them down there? Well, their schedule plays itself out as the week. They beat Texas. They probably jump up 3 or 4 spots. It's all going to work out in the end. Calm down, Sooner fans. Eye test-wise, they look terrific. Jalen Hurts is in the Heisman race. The defense looks improved. We'll see how Saturday goes.
All right, number 8, the Auburn Tigers, who have a loss, but look at the metrics here. They are number 1 in strength of schedule. Despite a loss, they're actually number 2 in strength of record. They've beaten both Oregon and Texas A&M, won a neutral site game, one on the road.
This is the total opposite of OU. Auburn is. Schedule's been terrific, but you still wonder how good they are. But you have to give them the credit because they found a way to beat Oregon. They played Florida tough over the weekend. You know, they won at A&M. They've got the 2 best they have the best 2 wins. Out of teams who have 2 good wins,
Yeah.
Auburn is the best of those grouping. That's why we got them at number 8. I think they're going to slip, in the coming weeks. But as of now, you got to give them credit for what they've done so far.
And look, they still have LSU on the road, Alabama, Georgia at home. And
you feel like they're dogs in all those games.
Yeah, this could easily end up being a 4-loss Auburn team. It all works itself out. But for now, as we sit here in early October, 5-1 with only loss coming to Florida on the road. It's tough to rank them any lower. Number 7, then, it is the Georgia Bulldogs. No surprise, lots of SEC teams in here. They do have that nice win over Notre Dame, but only the number 87 strength of schedule, beating up on cupcakes elsewhere.
Yeah, the rest of that schedule's been brutal, and, while it's a good win, they were 2 touchdown favorites, and they were kind of lackadaisical in that game. I mean, that was a game they easily could have lost. Notre Dame blew some opportunities. Give them credit. They won the game against a top 10, top 12 type of team in Notre Dame. But they got to get a little better offensively. Jake Fromm's been kind of up and down so far, but coming in at number 7, they're undefeated. They're in good shape so far.
All right, we will get to the top 6, but first, folks, get rid of commercials once and for all the major sporting events, the primetime college football games, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, by downloading the MyTV Choice app at chatsports.com/MyTV. It's free to download. Harrison, no more of that god-awful free phone football commercial. You've seen that, right?
And great. It was great last night because it was already awesome watching Baker Mayfield get beat up all night.
Sorry, you don't like
but
that,
it was even better when they went to commercial, and I didn't have to watch stupid State Farm commercials. It's the MyTV Choice app. You get content from us and other outlets as well. Download it today, chatsports.com/MyTV.
All right, you've probably figured out who the top 6 teams are. Before we reveal the order here, again, let's break down what their resumes look like.
This isn't in order.
No order. The 3 SEC teams here: Alabama, Florida, and LSU. 3 teams that have looked pretty great so far this year. Of course, all these teams have looked very good so far this year. Clemson, we'll dive more into them here in a little bit. Ohio State and Wisconsin. These are the top 6 teams left. So I guess if you're a Memphis fan, you were holding out hope. I'm sorry.
Hey, SMU Memphis in a few weeks.
Group
of 5, that's a big game.
So we'll play a little game here. Let's do a blind resume test. We got Team A, B, and C here. Team A has the number 49 overall strength of schedule. They have the number 6 strength of record, but they do not have a top 25 win at this point. Team B, well, they're 35th overall in strength of schedule, 5th strength of record, a top 25 win. Team C, meanwhile, they're dead last in all of those, number 72, number 9, and a top 25 win. So, folks, pick your team. Who would you rather have, A, B, or C?
When you look at the blind resumes, logic tells you B, right? You got the win, you got the best strength of schedule and record there. So, it would tell you that Team B has the best resume out of those 3 teams. Team A doesn't have a top 25 win. Team C's strength of schedule isn't what Teams A and B's are. So, logic would tell you Team B has the best resume there.
Of course, we don't know which team they've played. They're all undefeated, so it really is a true blind resume test. So let's reveal the teams then. Alabama, they check in here. They're Team A, Clemson, and then Wisconsin.
And that's why
The
blind
eye test.
resumes trick you, because Clemson, to start there, their top 25 win is against Texas A&M, who they're our number 25 team right now. So are they a top 25 win? Is that a great win? It's a good win. I don't know if it's a great win. Alabama doesn't, their schedule hasn't come to fruition yet. The offenses look great. I have question marks about their defense. Not surprising that is their resume. And then Wisconsin blew out Michigan.
Yeah.
They've got the best win out of these 3 teams. So it's kind of hard to say. To me,
Bit of a toss-up there.
yeah, I mean, it's just what do you personally go by there, but those are the metrics for you guys.
Let's move on to another 3 grouping here. This is Team 1, 2, and 3. 66 strength of schedule. The number 1 strength of record, though, and a top 25 win. All 3 of these teams have that. Team 2, though, just the 81st overall strength of schedule. Pretty far down there.
Yep.
Team 3, number 2 strength of record, number 19th strength of schedule. So does one team jump out to you here, Harrison?
Yeah, it's got to be Team 3. They got
Okay.
the best strength of schedule out of all 6 of these teams, not just these 3. You got the top 25 wins. Strength of record is there. Team 3 is the team that stands out here.
So let us know, guys. Pick your team, 1, 2, or 3 here. A little premiere on YouTube and a live Facebook video. So pick your team. I do think Team 3 makes some sense. I think that, but again, there's blind resume. So how does the eye test play in? What teams did they actually beat there? Let's reveal it. Team 1, that's Florida. It's a nice win over Auburn.
Yes.
LSU on the road against Texas. Maybe one of the best wins in all of college football. And it is a top 25 win for Ohio State, but it was against Cincinnati.
Yeah. And that's why, the blind resumes get tricky. But to me, you factor in the eye test, Tom, and just, it's not, because let's just call it what it is. Style points matter in college football. They just do. Is it fair? I'm not sure. But all I know is when I've watched Ohio State play, to me, they look like the most complete team so far. Now, am I saying if I would put Ohio State and Clemson on a neutral field that I'm just picking Ohio State matter what?
That's not what these are.
Not what I'm saying. Not what the committee does. What I am saying, though, is through 6 weeks, that looks like the best team in the country to me. That defense is much improved from last year, and the offense with Justin Fields is rolling.
All right, we'll get into the actual top 6 rankings here. But, guys, make sure you are subscribed to us here on YouTube. If you're watching, you can just hit that big red button. If you're watching on Facebook, well, the link's right there, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We will be live when the actual college football playoff rankings come out. In the meantime, though, we'll keep doing our projected rankings to help prepare you for it's going to look very different than the AP poll.
Yes.
Let's get into the top 6 here. We'll reveal from number 1 down to number 6. At number 1, it is the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're 6-0. We did not count Michigan State as a top 25 win. The committee, though, might count it.
Yeah, and they've got the volume of wins, too. They don't have that win that stands out to you, but the way they're beating people is very impressive. Go into Nebraska, win by 40. I know they're not great.
Blew them out.
I know they're not great, but that was never a game. That was an impressive win. Indiana's a solid top 50 type of team. Beat them handedly and just had a nice win over Sparty. So, I mean, I think so far you combine that with the eye test, how the offense is playing, the defense is playing. I have no problem with this. I think they're the best team in the country so far.
Number 2, the LSU Tigers. The strength of schedule is not great, 81st overall, but a road win over Texas, especially if Texas can beat Oklahoma this weekend, that's huge for LSU.
Yeah, probably the best win in the country so far, I would say. It's on the road against a good quarterback and a raucous crowd in Austin. Very impressive. That offense with Joe Burrow, Heisman Trophy candidate, they look good so far. They'll have some tests in the coming weeks, especially this weekend.
Committee likes road wins. That's the difference between number 2 LSU and number 3 Florida. A big-time home win over Auburn. And we get a fantastic matchup coming up, LSU, Florida.
They play this Saturday. It works out perfectly, Tom. I mean, look, offense versus defense, right? And it's not that LSU's defense is bad, but for their standard, it's not what it usually is. And that offense is, I don't know if LSU's ever had an offense this good with the way they're rolling.
It's fair question.
Florida's got NFL talent all over that defense. The question will be is whether they can score enough with Kyle Trask at quarterback. Good test on Saturday.
All right, number 4 then, the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's the strength of schedule. The lack of high-quality wins puts them behind LSU, Florida, but 3 teams from the SEC at the top.
And we've seen this in the past, Tom, where initial rankings are like, why are they down at number 5 or whatever? Well, the schedule hasn't come around yet, and the schedule will kick into gear for Alabama in the coming weeks.
Some added context here. Of every college football playoff rankings, the initial grouping, there have been at least 2 SEC teams in the top 4.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about that. Absolutely crazy.
That's what we got here as well.
All right, number 5 then, the Wisconsin Badgers. They liked that win over Michigan, but it was a home game, and beyond that game, they haven't played very many good teams.
Yeah, and I think, I have questions about the quarterback, Cohen, the freshman. Jonathan Taylor's terrific, but, great win over Michigan, and outside of that, hadn't done much.
Clemson then checks in at number 35, a surprisingly high number 35 strength of schedule, but we know the eye test matters more this year.
Yeah,
it's not there for Clemson.
We have them at number 6, but it's also one of those deals like it doesn't matter. Like
it'll all balance itself out.
Clemson does this a lot, where they start slow, they have an ugly game in September.
Lose the Pitt.
Yeah, lose the Pitt. But by the way, if they lose this year, they should be banned from the playoff this year. The ACC is that freaking bad. Sorry, producer Alicia. ACC's garbage.
She's mad about that one.
Look, it doesn't matter for Clemson. Just keep winning games, piling up wins.
There will not be 4 undefeated teams.
Yeah, they will be there. They will be there in the end.
All right, guys. So let us know what team you think should be ranked number 1 in the nation. I am sure there will be some fan lines drawn here. I know we got Oklahoma fans. I'm sure you'll vote for your own team there. We went with Ohio State, but let us know what you guys think in the comment section. What team do you think should be ranked number 1? Let us know down there in the comment section. And while you're doing that, we'll take you back through the projected college football playoff rankings. We're premiering this on YouTube, live on Facebook, so if you missed it, we got you covered. A&M 25, UC 24, Wake Forest 23, Minnesota 22, SMU 21. I want to talk about Texas A&M here, Harrison, because they got a chance to stun the world. I think it's a fair way to describe it. They're playing Alabama this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they got a big matchup against Alabama. Obviously, hasn't been the type of start Jimbo Fisher wants in year two. Could you imagine if they lost?
Tough schedule.
Could you imagine if they lost to Arkansas?
Oh boy!
I mean, the wheels would be falling off. But they got an opportunity this Saturday. Get them at home. Both teams coming off a bye week. I don't like their chances, Tom. I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk myself into it, but
is it a 17-point spread? Is that surprisingly low to you?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I think that is, maybe factoring in it's going to be a raucous crowd at Kyle Field, but does that, factor in a touchdown? I mean, I would have it at 21-22 at least.
Yeah.
I just think Alabama's that much better.
This is going to be a line to track to see how it changes throughout the week. And the best way to track the line is with our friends over at the Action Network. Go download that app today and get 40% off at chatsports.com/deal. They've got live odds, expert picks and analysis, and bet tracking. For example, Monday Night Football. The public money was fairly even, but the sharp money was on the 49ers. Look how that turned out. You can follow that action there, see where the smart bettors are placing their money, and follow that path instead. Go download the Action Network today, chatsports.com/deal, and get 40% off exclusively for college football fans here at Chat Sports. All right, the top 20 now. Michigan State. We've got Cal, Utah, Iowa, Virginia. Any teams that jump out there for you, Harrison?
Yeah, weird grouping here. Cal and Michigan State.
Awkward grouping.
2 losses already. They're up there solely because of the strength of schedule so far. I like Utah and I like Virginia as one-loss teams because they're in conferences that are manageable. And that is something that is nice moving forward. If you were a team like Utah, they were kind of a dark horse playoff team coming into this year, had the loss against USC. Virginia, they've got the lone loss to Notre Dame. Both those teams should have opportunities moving forward.
All right, Penn State on the road against Iowa. Now, Harrison, I don't really believe in Iowa this year. But if you are a higher-ranked team on the road late night at Iowa,
yeah.
that is a trap game.
Is this one of those 17-13 games
that is
Iowa
exactly
squeaks?
What this is.
Nate Stanley makes one play late in the game that wins the game.
Penn State has a chance late. They can't complete the pass in the end zone. That is exactly what this game is.
I think regardless of going into this game what the storylines are, we're going to know a lot more about Penn State coming out of this game than we are about Iowa.
I agree.
I think we have a pretty good feeling about what Iowa is.
They're top 25,
they're
not top
15.
Decent
8-9 win type of team that plays good defense and likes to run the football. Penn State, we're going to find out if they're a playoff contender after Saturday. If they go into Iowa and win by 2 scores, that's a good win. So it'll be a good one on Saturday. Penn State 4.5-point favorites. I think that's a pretty good number there. That makes sense.
All right, who do you guys have? Let us know in the comment section. Number 10, Penn State. At number 17, Iowa. Type P for PSU. I for Iowa. That is an I, not a lowercase l, because Iowa I. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Penn State.
Okay.
I'm not going to say this is the classic Kinnick game this year. I don't like that offense, man. I really don't.
I don't either.
But do we like any of their offenses when they pull this off every year? So logic will tell you Penn State, but Iowa does this every year. I'm going to go with Penn State, though. I'm a believer in
I'll go with the upset the Iowa Hawkeyes, who almost came back against Michigan. On the road for Penn State, it's a scary game.
Tricky game.
All right, the top 15 then. Arizona State at number 15. Michigan checks in at number 14. Penn State 13. Oregon 12. Notre Dame 11. All of these teams still kind of in the mix, Harrison, but they're going to need some help down the stretch.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I think Notre Dame's got the best opportunity because the schedule lines up in front of them. They don't have to worry about the conference matchups. They've already played their toughest game in Georgia, and they played them close. So I think moving forward, they're going to have a real chance here.
All right, inside the top 10, Texas at number 10, Oklahoma at number 9, Auburn at 8, and Georgia at 7. The big matchup this week, at least one of the big matchups in a great weekend of college football, Oklahoma, Texas, the Red River rivalry here coming up.
Yeah,
sorry, the Red River Shootout. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
I'm going to call it what it should be.
Showdown?
It's the shootout now.
They change it every year.
It's still the shootout forever it is.
Texas OU coming up here in Dallas. The Sooners, 10.5-point favorites. Some were surprised by this. I thought this would be 7-10 somewhere, but they're opening as 10.5-point favorites, 5-0. Obviously, the Horns are 4-1. I'm not worried about Texas being able to score points. Sam Ellinger's terrific. Roshan Johnson, they have found, can run the football for them.
Go figure,
Yeah,
right?
the third-string freshman quarterback is running the ball for them because Keontae Ingram can't stay healthy.
He's banged up a lot.
And he's banged up as well, and they've got injuries all across the running back room. But they're making plays. Can they make enough plays defensively on Jalen Hurts? That's going to be the question here.
Yeah.
We'll see.
They did not against Joe Burrow.
I don't love their chances.
The defense has not been great, but Tom Herman as the underdog normally is a must-bet.
Yes.
Failed me against LSU, but as a 10-point favorite, that's a pretty big spread at a neutral
I bet
site
that
game.
number starts to slip throughout the
I think
week.
you could see it there. All right, so who you guys got? Oklahoma or Texas? Of course, these are their AP poll rankings. Those are the official ones there. Who you got, Oklahoma or Texas?
I'm going OU. I just like the way that team is playing on offense. Obviously, Texas has been tested by LSU and played them tough. So they've been, in those bigger game so far this year. But Oklahoma should be fresh. They're healthier. The defense looks improved. I just think they'll outscore them. I like OU in this game.
It's not a great bet, but the upside is great. How about parlaying Texas and Iowa to pull the upside?
I do like the points for Texas.
That's
10.5
fine.
is a big number
It's
there.
a big number there.
But to win the game, give me OU.
All right, guys, now a little programming alert here for you. The Red River Celebrity Softball game is this Thursday, October 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we've got it live for you. We will be live on Facebook and on YouTube. Harrison Graham and myself on the call here. Texas won it last year. Houston Street was the MVP. Got some notable celebs and former alumni coming in for both teams here, Harrison.
And sources tell us that whoever wins this game wins on Saturday as well.
That's the rules.
It happened last year. Tell me the lie. Show me the lie.
Them's the rules there. All right,
That's how it works.
Some notable players for Oklahoma. Of course, you guys know names like Bob Stoops, Jason White, Ryan Broyles, the receiver, Billy Sims. And Oklahoma here, they want to win. They've brought in a ringer. They got Matt Kemp playing for them this year.
Matt Kemp was playing for the Reds 4 months ago, and they're calling him in.
This feels like cheating.
How fat was the check to get Matt Kemp to come to Frisco to play in this game? 3-time All-Star. Here's the fun fact here.
Yeah.
Matt Kemp got recruited by OU to play basketball.
And he's been
interesting.
Been an Oklahoma fan, and now he gets to suit up for the Sooners, at least in a celebrity softball game. Texas, meanwhile, Ricky Williams is there, Roger Clemens, Roy Williams.
Both Roy Williams playing, by the way.
But Texas, I guess, is the more notable one here. Jermichael Finley and Houston Street, who balled out last year despite being a pitcher.
Yeah, he was the MVP
great.
last year, 2-time MLB All-Star, has over 300 career saves. So a lot of notable names. Should be a good time.
All right, guys, so make sure you are subscribed here on YouTube. Make sure you've liked the page on Facebook. We will be live for the Red River Celebrity Softball game, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tune in. It's going to be a good time. Back over now to the top 6 here of the projected CFP Playoff Rankings, or I guess it's CFB Playoff Rankings because that's the same thing twice. OSU's number 1, LSU 2, Florida, Bama, Wisconsin, Clemson. Feel free to debate in the comment section. I'll be in there as well. But what a fantastic matchup this weekend. Florida on the road, Death Valley against LSU. The Tigers are a 13-point favorite.
That's a big number. I mean, we said 10.5 was big. That you feel like that could happen in a back-and-forth, high-scoring game, Texas OU. But SEC matchup, 13 points against 2 unbeatens. Well, LSU's offense is legit, folks. Like
Yeah.
that's the story here. And
This is
they're
not your daddy's LSU.
They're at home in Baton Rouge. I think this is also Vegas saying they're not believers in Florida.
Yeah,
that's what that tells me.
This feels right to me. I'm actually not surprised. It's a huge spread. This is going to be a night game. LSU's home. That crowd is going to be off the chain.
Yeah.
I'm taking LSU and the points.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm not buying into Florida. I think Florida and Auburn kind of showed us in that game that those are good teams, but they're probably a year away. I mean, realistically, LSU's ready to win this year. They're going to prove that on Saturday and prove that they're a college football playoff contender.
So let us know, everyone, in the comment section who you've got. Number 7, Florida, at number 5, LSU, per the AP poll there. You're typing in your L there, Harrison?
Yeah, give me LSU. I think they win by 17 in this game.
All right, guys, let us know what you think in the comments section. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube as well. We will be live each week with the College Football Playoff Rankings, of course, once they officially come out too. Projections as well.